Breaking. Elon Musk has announced that Tesla is discontinuing the Model S and Model X in Q2 of 2026. Quote, "We are going to convert that production space to an Optimus factory. It's part of our overall shift to an autonomous future." Tesla then followed up a few hours later saying, "As we shift to an autonomous future, Model S and X production will wind down next quarter. If you'd like to own one of them, now is a good time to place your order. Tesla wouldn't be what it is today without Model S and X and their early owners. Thank you for your support over the last decade." And under both those posts are just hundreds, if not thousands of people just sad, empathetic. And that was honestly kind of surprising to see, as most of the people under the post aren't even S or X owners, they're actually 3 and Y owners. And, at least for me, S and X were always aspirational vehicles. Like when I bought my first Model 3, I always dreamt of eventually buying a Model S, right? And I think that rings true for a lot of people, as I've actually had numerous people come up to me after buying my Model S and, we would chit chat about their Model 3 or their Model Y, but they would always say something along the lines of, if they owned a 3, that they eventually would like to get an S, or if they owned a Y, they would eventually like to get an X. And as someone that was able to see that through and know what it felt like, my delivery day for my Plaid, I will never forget. It sucks that other people are not gonna be able to experience that, or at least after June 30th, less than 6 months. And to say that I'm surprised would be lying, as if you just look at the sales numbers of the S and X, Tesla actually groups S, X, and Cybertruck all into other models. Last year, throughout the entire year of 2025, Tesla sold around 50,000 other models. Whereas with Model 3 and Model Y, it was over 1.5 million. So I'm not surprised. I'm more so just disheartened that they just went right to canning them. They didn't try a big second gen refresh. They didn't try to potentially move the line alongside Giga Texas, make a very small amount per year, just enough to meet demand, if not a little bit less to meet demand. Maybe up the price a little bit to make it more worth it. S and X used to be 50% over what they are now. They didn't do any of that. They just killed them. A major refresh would cost hundreds of millions of dollars with zero guarantee that it would even pay out, or that these humanoid robots could very well be the next cell phone in terms of adoption and popularity. It's still just sad to see them being killed off like this. I know a lot of people are pointing fingers at Tesla not really staying competitive at that luxury price point, though still keeping S and X at a luxury price point. In my opinion, I think an even bigger reason is simply due to the fact that new 3 and new Y are so good that they just really started cannibalizing S and X sales. And if you're new to Tesla and kind of wondering where all the sentiment is coming from around this announcement, Model S is kind of what started it all. There's been electric cars for a long time, but it was the Model S that re-revolutionized electric cars, because honestly, the first gen Roadster was just a Lotus Elise with its guts ripped out and some electric stuff thrown into it. The Model S was like Tesla's true first car. Tesla also achieved their first profitable quarter with the Model S. In fact, the first ever Model S to come off the production line a few years back was donated to, I think it was the Peterson Automotive Museum. And it was actually done from the original owner, who has actually now come out and said that he'd be willing to buy the final Model S that comes off the line. He's actually tweeted out, I think, that he's already went through the configurator and he's chosen a Plaid and everything. I am hopeful that if that does end up happening, Tesla will hold a big S and X owner meet at the factory, I guess. I think that'd be super cool as a proper send off. I would definitely drive back across the country all the way to Fremont to attend that. Now, as for what this means for me, some of you all know, if you don't, I took delivery of a 2026 refresh Model S Plaid last summer, right after they came out. I was actually the first one in the state of Kentucky with one. And, first, can we just talk about the timing? I was able to get $20,000 in referral credits. On top of that, tax credit was going on. And if you don't know, if you bought a Model S or Model X, they did not qualify for the tax credit. However, if you leased them and then bought it out, you would get, because there's buyout fees and everything, you would get around $6,000. I actually ended up netting right at about $6,500 out of this full $7,500 tax credit, using the lease loophole and then buying the car out day one. I also got $1,000 for self-referring and another $1,000 for military. So in total, I got about $28,500 off the purchase price of this car. And on top of all that, this will never be a legacy, as Tesla switches the model years in October and they're stopping production at the end of June. So there will never be a 2027 Model S Plaid, and they more than likely, because they've already announced that they're killing production, they're not going to add anything new to them between now and the time that they stop production, which leads me into the next point. I'm not getting rid of this car. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I will probably never get rid of this car now, or at least until Tesla stops servicing them, which they actually did announce today. Service parts, software, updates, all that stuff. The Model S and X are still going to be fully supported, though. If you own an S or X, you know that software is already a little bit shaky, so I can only assume it's going to get a little bit worse. If you bought one today, like you're good, which I fully do believe. You know, these cars have an 8-year or actually 150,000 mile battery and drivetrain warranty compared to 3NY, which will only go up to 120. I think the standards are still 100, but I could be wrong. Now, if you've been on the fence and whether or not you should buy one, you know, I've already got quite a few DMs, messages, emails about this, and I don't want to give a definite yes or no, simply because the last few weeks we've seen Tesla make some pretty questionable decisions from the consumer standpoint. From the business standpoint, if you own the stock, it's probably all great decisions you're really happy to see. You know, just for example, one of the earnings call questions when all this was being announced was an FSD transfer question. The only question I was really interested in, and they just skipped it. They just skipped it. So if that tells you anything. But like I mentioned, I will never forget this car's delivery day. And while you could totally wait a few years, I don't think prices will fall as fast anymore. Like, I think that as this news kind of gets out and people start realizing that they'll just never be able to buy another Model S or X again, I think resale prices won't go up, but they'll slow a lot more than what they typically do in the next coming months. And of course, the years post-mortem of the S and X. So while you could wait, save some money getting it with pretty much nothing on the odometer, peeling the plastic off the instrument cluster, and just like really getting, this is mine, right? Like this is my car. It's only been my car. And I've really, really enjoyed my time with this car. It is my favorite Tesla. You know, I try to hold off on talking about my S whenever I'm talking about 3NY, because mainly this channel focuses around 3NY. And it's mainly just because, you know, I kind of feel like a douchebag. It's like I build up this audience talking about the 3 and all of a sudden I get an S, and, you know, I don't want to be that person that everything I'm like, oh yeah, the 3 is really good at this, but the S is a little bit better, right? I feel like a douchebag because it's like, well, duh, it's like $100,000 car. It's like twice as expensive. Most of the times I bring up my S is actually to make the 3NY look good, how close they are together, but how far they are in terms of purchase price. And of course, with every high-end premium or luxury item, you pay significantly more for just those last few percentage points. The 3NY are 80% of S and X, but for half the price. And you pay double the price to get that last 10 to 20%. That's how a lot of high-end premium and luxury items go about it. And I'm talking to people that are on the fence. I'm not telling you to like go out and go into like significant amounts of debt to own a Model S. It's a great car. I don't think it's worth you putting yourself under though for. I'm talking about people that they've ran the numbers, they can afford the car, they can buy the car, and they're kind of teetering on whether or not they should. I've really, really loved my Model S, especially if you've never owned or driven one before. It's great, especially a Plaid. You know, on top of S and X dying, Plaids are also dying, which from a performance standpoint, the Plaids were at the apex of Tesla's performance department. I truly do believe that Roadster, second gen Roadster will come out. Will it come out with the specs that were originally advertised? The range? No way. Absolutely no way. Also quoted a 2-second 0 to 60, which the Plaid already does that. I mean, it does like 2.2, 2.3, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was even more expensive than what they originally announced it at. I wouldn't be surprised to see it at like 300 to 350. But yeah, after S and X are gone, 3 and Y, Performance 3 and Y, I own both. They're great. They are definitely quick cars, but they aren't fast, right? Like fast is 0 to 60 and then 60 to 130, 150, all the way to 200, which Plaid has the capability of doing. And after this, Tesla's not going to have a fast car until Roadster is out. Apparently they said that they are going to show something Roadster related in April. I would like to believe that. I hope they do. I hate seeing Tesla not still dominating the performance department. The Plaid is the best, even buying new, if you're just wanting straight performance, is the best performance value out of any car like on the face of the planet. It's $100,000, completely ignoring the fact that it drives itself. It's definitely one of the, well, there are other 1,000 horsepower EVs, but it's extremely cheap to operate, you know, in comparison to like gas cars and stuff. Quarter mile, 9.2, 9.3, absolutely missile in a straight line. The only other cars that do what Plaid does, 4-door, 1,000 horsepower sedan, is the Lucid Sapphire and the Porsche Taycan Turbo GT. And for less than half the price of those other cars, as both the Sapphire and the GT start at $250,000. Like I said, this car is 100, 110. And if the wounds weren't fresh enough, then you have the Tesla Optimus or whatever, the stupid robot account tweeting out that, don't worry, S and X are gonna live on through me. Man, shut the fuck up. Like, I do not care. You cannot pick me up and sprint the quarter mile in under 10 seconds. I genuinely don't care. I'm very disappointed to see this decision. I genuinely plan to own a Model S Plaid throughout my entire life. I fully plan to have it in my garage. You know, if they ever made like a Plaid Plus or made them even faster, of course, I would just buy the newer generation one. And I plan to own one for literally my entire life. So it sucks to see that after 14 years, the whole entire project's being killed. And I would love nothing more than to wake up tomorrow to a tweet from Tesla or Elon saying that they've heard the feedback and they're going to continue production, even if it meant a very small assembly line, like I mentioned earlier, in Giga Texas alongside the Cybertruck and Model Y, even if that meant that they had to up the price to keep making them, even if that meant that there were like a multi-month wait for any car that was ordered just because of how slow they pump them out, you know, like strictly made to order. I don't care. I just want to be able to buy a new Model S in the future. Lastly, I mentioned in my previous video how some people were speculating Tesla was looking to exit the automotive business. And I think that this recent news and the killing of their two flagships kind of somewhat confirms that, or at least the personally owned, manually operated automotive business. I would not be surprised if the next gen Roadster is the last product Tesla launches that can be manually driven, which in my opinion sucks. I know we cover FSD quite a bit here on the channel, and we have been more and more as of recent months, but that's kind of the thing. While the FSD is really good, there's nothing else in the world that compares to it. These cars are really, really fun to drive. So it's always this like constant dilemma of, do I let the car drive me or do I drive myself? I mean, you all have seen my FSD stats. And as you all know, I'm not against the robo-taxis or cyber cabs. In fact, I would gladly own one as long as I could also own a Tesla that I can drive. But let me know your all's thoughts. Would you buy a Tesla if you couldn't drive it? I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm old school, but yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Well, might as well do a launch. It's like super cold outside. We're only at like 63%, and we have like, it started out with 30 minutes left for peak performance mode, but preparing for launch. I don't think it'll ever actually prepare and then get to launch because I'm lowered a little bit. Oh no, we're good. Oh God. Even 20-degree weather, it just, and you know, that's really where you feel the difference in Plaid, is when it's a little bit colder and it launches and it kind of struggles for grip all the way up till like 60, and then 60 is when it finally hooks and you're like, oh man, I can't believe they're gonna stop making this.